Hi and Assalamualaikum. Today, our group gonna present about our project, which is online voting registration system, and we're gonna explain a little bit about our project. Purpose of our online voting registration system is to let eligible voters register to vote and cast their vote online, so they don't have to go to the polling place or back home. This method is meant to help people who work or go to college in different cities or countries, are disabled or don't have a way to get around, among others who have trouble voting. By letting people register and vote online, absentee voting is made easy for people who can be in their hometowns on election day. Accessibility for people with disabilities is also better by adding things like user interface that are easy to use and accessible technology. It also makes the process of registering easier, which save times and make people more likely to vote by giving them information about politicians and issues.
This is our system methodology. The first one, evolving requirements. If a voter registers online, the requirements may change as a result of legislative amendments, revisions to the voter eligibility standards, or requests for improvements from stakeholders. Agile offers flexibility in incorporating these modifications because to its iterative development process and frequent feedback loops. Second, stakeholder collaboration. Between the development team and stakeholders, Agile allows ongoing communication and collaboration. This engagement enables stakeholders to give input, define requirements, and rank features, ensuring that the system effectively satisfies their needs. Third, user-centric approach. The development team may learn a lot about the wants, preference, and problem areas of potential voters and end users by interacting with them. An intuitive user-friendly registration process that meets the needs of the target audience can be developed with the aid of this user-centric approach. Iterative development and faster delivery. Sprint produce a potential shippable product and increment, delivering value frequently and quickly. Because essential features and functionalities may be delivered more quickly with this iterative method, stakeholders can monitor development and offer input on an ongoing basis. Next, adaptability to regulatory change. The development team can swiftly adjust to this change and include any necessary adjustment in a later version. By doing this, compliance with changing regulation is ensured, and the possibility of delays or reward brought on by large regulatory revision is decreased. The last one is quality assurance and testing. Continuous integration and testing are key components of Agile approach. Issues can be quickly found and fixed by integrating testing early and frequently, making the registration system more dependable and resilient. So this is our use case diagram. For login, before utilizing additional system functionalities, this procedure is required. A user's usernames and password are entered on the home page. The user can then access the information they want. Cast vote. This process is performed when users cast a vote in a way that protects secrecy and the authorized individual records are updated. The process involves the election central supervisor and the elector. The central private precinct is where voters go to cast their ballot, selecting one from the available options. The voting process is designed to keep the material secret. Voters are given a receipt as a proof of their participation. View vote registration. The voter's personal information that they enter before registration will be visible. Manage user. This process where is in charge of overseeing every aspect of your election, including nomination, campaigns, polls, and result simulation. Manage election. A few public locations are designated as election centers during this process by state officials. The staff and those in charge of overseeing the process for each polling place are decided throughout the space. Set up election details. This procedure is carried out prior to the voting event and following the definition of the constitutions. The objective is to supply the necessary personnel and resources in the form of infrastructure to make it possible to carry out the election process. Lastly, manage and maintaining system. This process is maintained after the system has been verified to make sure it can change course if necessary in order to meet new needs.
Okay, for the sequence diagram, our project have 3 sequence diagram, but I'm just going to explain you one, which is user registrations. Okay, first of all, user navigate to the online voting registrations websites. User clicks on the register button to initiate the registration process. Okay, the system presents the user with registration forms, and the user can insert their personal details such as name, address, date of birth, and more. Okay, for the login page, they just can insert the username and passwords. After that, the system will verify if the user fills out the registration form with accurate information, and the system will send links and validate the verification link and confirms the user identity. The user should receive a confirmation message stating that their registration has been verified and accepted. If there is invalid information or username and password, the system should go back to the login page or registration page. And then the system, if the information is correct or accurate, the system will go on to the home page, and the system should add the user information to the user registration database and mark them as eligible to vote in the upcoming elections.
This is our functional requirement. The first one is a login and authentication. In order to guarantee safe access, the system must authenticate users using their login information. Incorrect login items will result in the proper error message, and after a certain number of unsuccessful tries, the user's account will be temporarily locked for security reasons. Second, voter eligibility verification. In accordance with election regulation, the system must examine users' age, citizenship status, and other factors to determine whether they are eligible to vote. If there are any eligibility problems, the system will display the proper alerts to let the user know and give advice on how to fix the problem. The last one is voter registration form. In order to gather the necessary voter-specific data for registration, the system must display a clear and user-friendly registration form. The system must validate the form to ensure that all required elements are filled in and mandatory fields must be clearly marked as such.
So I'm gonna explain 3 non-functional requirements for our project, which is the number 1 is performance requirement. Okay, performance requirement refers to the responsiveness and efficiency which the system handles user interactions, notably throughout the process of registering for an account. The end result should be a pleasant one for user. Thus, we want to make sure they can finish the registration process conveniently and without substantial interruptions. For example, when a user submits a registration forms or asks for verifications, the system needs to act swiftly. A responsive system acknowledges the user input right away and give them audible or visual feedback to let them know their request is being handled. Okay, the second non-functional requirement is safety requirement. The implementations of safety standards for our online voting registration systems should result in the creation of a platform that is trustworthy and safe for users to register for the vote. This will help to maintain the legitimacy of the voting process while also protecting sensitive data from any potential risks. For example, the system is required to employ strong encryption techniques in order to safeguard sensitive user data, such as personal information and identity documentations, both while in transit and while it is being stored. Okay, the third non-functional requirement is security requirement. The online voting registration system must develop a strong security posture while safeguarding user information, upholding confidentiality, and guaranteeing the validity of the registration process. These actions show a commitment to protecting sensitive information and help to increase confidence among users and stakeholders. For example, to guarantee that only authorized users are able to access the registration platform, the system should incorporate strong user authentication procedures such as multi-factor authentications or two-factor authentications. So, in conclusions, the online voting registration system is a game changer because it solves some of the biggest problems with traditional voter registrations. By making a platform that is easy to use and available, eligible voters can now register and vote without having to go to their hometowns or polling stations. This method is easy and independent for workers who live in different cities or countries, people with disabilities, or people who don't have access to transportation to exercise their right to vote. Thank you.